Welcome to the Staying Connected podcast, where we seek out stories that connect us with one another. We're here to learn about differences, vulnerabilities, life lessons, and successes that help us build and refine our relationships. I'm your host, Scott Wynn. Let's jump into it. So, for today, I have a very special guest, my brother, Kenny. How are you, Kenny?
I am good and excited to be back. It's been so long. I'm so happy to see you, Scott. I mean, it's like it's been how long?
Been a
Quite a
while.
while.
Been a while.
But thank you for having me on.
So, for new listeners, Kenny started this podcast with me, and he would always do the intro because his voice is beautiful. And let's give the connectors an update, like what's been going on. How come you had to take a break from the
Yeah, so
show?
I've been taking a break because there are some life changes that occurred within the past couple months. So first off, I got a new job, well, new position at the current company that I work at. I am now an account executive. So that's one new thing. I also moved to a new house, so which is closer to my job now, and yeah, kind of like balancing transitioning into that new position and moving a new to a new house. Yeah, I really had to really focus on yeah those things before I jumped on like a new project and all that. So that's why I was taking a break. But now I am back and ready to, stay connected. I'm connected. I've been connected all along. Just
It's true.
been focusing on other things.
True. We do hang out on the regular, so we do live the
Yeah.
staying connected life.
We still talk about it, and yeah, I mean, finally we get to record an actual podcast together once again because it's been forever. I feel like it's been yeah, a couple months. So
So I really wanted to do a reflection episode with you because
oh yeah.
we did start this last year, and I think a couple more months and it reaches our
Mhm.
anniversary date of when we started it. But when you I'll ask some of the tougher questions, like so first of all, how has it been just adjusting to your new role?
Okay, so prior to this new position as account executive, I was more of like a support for the account executives. So, I mean, it's two different roles, you could say now. Like, I guess being a sales support, it was kind of like, I was asked to do this and do that and then help with production. So I work in media. And eventually, when I jumped on to my new position as account executive, this one has allowed me to be a little bit more free on being able to reach out to businesses and also just build that relationship with other um, people in the community. And, it's been quite the transition because, it's like I had to train someone to replace my spot, and then I had to train with like our mainland team for my new position. And the role itself now has been pretty busy. It's like it's a day-to-day type of job. Like, you have your clients, you have these businesses that you work with, and if they need help with something, whether it's some production or um, you know advertising opportunities with our station, then yeah, you have to kind of like be there as their partner, pretty much. So it's been pretty busy, and I'm enjoying it so far. Just being able to establish the relationships and work with people that I've always wanted to. Um, yeah, so a lot of like small local businesses, nonprofit organizations, and just being out there representing um, my company. in the best way as I can. So being yourself, that's what I learned. You know, you got to be yourself in this account executive position. It's like you shouldn't try to be someone what other people,
Yeah,
want you to be. So
because they can see it if you're not being yourself. You're
mhm,
just
yeah.
portraying this false image. Yeah, when you first got the position, let's
Mhm,
rewind a little bit. Can
yeah.
I review to them what happened before you got your job? Your
I mean,
okay.
I can kind of go into it a little. Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting how the way life works. So during the pandemic, I mean, I was in my self support position, and as the year as 2020 kind of concluded, I was really considering um, my options here in Hawaii, and also considering possibly moving to the mainland. And um, it was just kind of like all of a sudden, as I was like, what is it, having things set with like, moving, maybe possibly moving to the mainland, this new job opportunity locally here in Hawaii, currently at the station that I work at, just dropped in my hands. And I was like, had to weigh out the options, whether it's like go here or stay at the station. And I was like, really like, I had to spend time away from everybody. Like, I had to spend time away from the podcast, stay away from my friends, not even like communicate with like my family as much, because I really had to think about what I wanted to do. And just weigh out the options, weigh out the pros and cons. And ultimately I decided to stay here in Hawaii and pursue my love to help people. So this job as an account executive is allowing me to help out um, a lot of people in our community, and to really build that partnership that I want to establish moving forward. So I'm glad that I can work in this place I call home, and also just my um, build myself as I transition into this exciting position.
Yeah, when you first got the position, I was super excited for you. Even when you were deciding whether to choose the mainland or here,
Mm-hmm.
what was the deciding factor? What made you choose Hawaii instead of
Mm-hmm.
over the mainland? Because that would have been an exciting adventure as well, going
Mm-hmm.
to new waters, venturing out. So what made you
Yeah,
decide Hawaii?
I think because I was already working at the station, it was easy access into getting this opportunity, and I was already comfortable, not just at the station, but I'm from Hawaii, so it's kind of like it's a different culture versus the mainland. So moving up to the mainland, I would have to transition into learning the position and also the culture. I mean, not saying that that option is out. It's kind of like, I spent time talking with my parents on my decision and what to do. And they told me, it's a great opportunity to stay here. You have a great opportunity lined up for you. So why not, just experience that position and see how you like it. And the mainland is always going to be there. Um, but this opportunity right now is kind of like it's calling you right now. So um, I listen to my parents, and I listen to my internal um, feelings, and went with my heart and stayed here in Hawaii, because I felt like you know there's a lot of opportunity, even if we're like in the middle of the Pacific. It's a whole different culture, and there's, even though we're so small, there's so many opportunities here to grow. um, Little do a lot of people know. So yeah, that's where I'm at, and I am happy that I decided to stay here because my friends are here,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's like my family's here, and yeah, my love for just Hawaii is just, I can wake up every day and, whenever I'm stressed, I can go to the beach. And yeah, it's just, you know, right now it's like I'm happy that I'm here. And, the Milan, again, will always be there. And, but for now, I'm doing what I can, every single day, doing what I love is to help people. Yeah.
And we were talking about how it's a huge coincidence that like you're planning to move and all of a
Mhm.
sudden, this position just comes out of nowhere for you to stay.
I was surprised. I was just like, at that, the day I was asked about this position, I was like, shit, what do I do now? That's the first thing I asked myself. Like, what do I do? Like,
They
so
must
that's
have
why.
hacked your phone or something. Like, oh, you want to leave,
Yeah,
Kenny? No.
yeah. It's just there's a sign. Yeah, there was a. I don't know. That's how life works. Life works in mysterious ways, and that's, you never know what's gonna come at you. You just have to be ready, and yeah, be ready to make a decision because you never know how, yeah, what might come at you and what the future holds.
I know you've told me this many times offline, but do you want to put it in the podcast of your career aspirations or like what's next?
Mhm.
What's the ultimate goal?
Well, ultimate goal is to. So I mean, I work in media. I eventually, want to start like my own media company, just to help. Media has its flaws, its pros and cons. Trying to find a way to really balance it out. There's a set agenda for everything, and um, if I'm able to have control over the agenda, then really sharing both sides of the stories, then I feel like the community needs to know both sides of the stories, and it's a long process. Just the way things been over the past years, it's like, yeah, so it's kind of like it's a work in progress. And yeah, I mean, working in media for a couple years now, it's opened my eyes to so many different things. Like, as a consumer of media, you you see one thing, but like, working in media, it's another thing. It's it's allowing you to kind of see both sides, but then corporations have their set agenda, and it's kind of like, yeah, it limits to what consumers can know and understand. So yeah, if there was some way later on to change that, evolve that into something, um yeah, better, then yeah,
What
I
what
would
kind of
be.
stories would you want to tell, or any areas would you like to focus on?
Mhm. I want to focus a lot on just innovators out there. There's a lot of people that are creative, especially within the past year. There's different startups happening. There's a lot of Gen Z. Um, they're they're a creative generation, and it's kind of like I want to tell stories that will motivate viewers and inspire them to really achieve what they want to achieve, because it's kind of like take advantage of technology, take advantage of you know education, and yeah, I would want to find stories that would help motivate people into you know, helping others. I'm taking my current position in a way where I can help, businesses thrive, help local or like nonprofit organizations um, thrive as well. So, you know, ultimately, I that's my message to everybody. You have your job, and at the end of the day, I yeah, I would like everybody to ask themselves like, how have I helped someone today? So that's ultimately what I want to do with my goals of possibly running my own media company.
That'll be a lot better than the divisiveness that's going around across the country.
Mhm.
Could
Yeah,
you,
it's yeah.
sorry, I wanted to ask, could you give us a little detail on like the startups that you've been talking to
Mhm.
or the startups you've been seeing? Because I'm interested as well. So the startup
Yeah,
environment in Hawaii isn't there. Okay, I'll be truthfully painful. It's not like the greatest, or it's not as
it's
like, it's no Silicon Valley, I'll tell you that.
yeah. That's the thing. It's like everybody eventually moves to the mainland to work for a startup, and there's opportunities up there, especially Silicon Valley. That's where that's the birthplace of all of the names we all know now. And in Hawaii, there's quite a few, like a lot of it related to, you know, like Hawaiian culture, like navigation. We have like the hokulea here. Um, that's one thing that has provided a lot of like youth these days the opportunity to build on ideas on navigation through our culture, and they're using that, I guess, mentality, those fundamentals into building a startup here. I don't want to go into detail. It's just kind of like those ideas that you know how culture really plays a role in a lot of startups here. And throughout the pandemic, you see a lot of food, like restaurants open up, and um, there's just so many different things coming out of Hawaii that'll do a lot of people know. So I want to be able to showcase all of those stories.
Well, I don't know much about media, but
Mhm.
what do you need to start your own media company?
Well, connections. That's one thing. It's these days it's all about who you know. Because once you establish that relationship, then you're gonna have just like a plate full of you know community leaders that can help you out, and also spread the word about your media company. And if there's something that that's the thing about Hawaii. It's word of mouth. um Once somebody knows about your services and what you do, and on my part, I want to make their vision come to life. So if there's a story that they want to tell, if there's a then I will be there firsthand. So building your connections, word of mouth is key. And if you anybody, if you have an ideal that you want to bring to life, then
Talk to
you know
Kenny.
that's where it's at. So it's kind of like that's the goal, the mission of this media company, is to bring your story to life.
Ooh, I like that. That could be a
Yeah.
slogan. How,
Yeah.
how, how, how does buying slots for, I guess,
Mhm.
to show your segments, how does that work? Like,
So it's there's a different structure anywhere you go. I can't really go into detail
ooh,
about
confidential.
that. Yes, but it's kind of like if I wanted to, if you wanted to kind of share a little bit about yourself, then I personally would work with you and see what your vision is for or your company, and basically, yeah, brainstorm ways on your vision, bringing it to life, and finding areas of our media company to kind of create that exposure for you. So yeah, it's kind of like putting a megaphone on your message. So
I think that's one. I'm gonna critique media for a little bit. You don't mind? I guess that's the one thing from the public side that's just really confusing for us, especially for
mhm,
me. It's like, how does
mhm,
everything work? How does like airtime work? How
mhm,
do segments work? Just like it'll be
yeah,
nice to see like the behind the scenes for that. It's like, why do they do a certain thing?
mhm,
Why these segments?
yeah,
It'll be very very nice to see like transparency, especially when you do start your own, to see
yeah.
like
So I
understand that.
mean,
Okay, so I'm just
it's
gonna
like,
finish my yeah.
oh yeah,
I'm
go
just
go
gonna finish
go
my thought,
go.
and I'll let you start.
Yeah.
I guess for just for the public side, we just want to see how everything works, and maybe that's why people have such a negative view about media because they don't know what's going on, so they're gonna assume the worst. So if someone, hopefully you, um, can start a movement in which you show the behind the scenes, show the transparency behind media and how it's just not all negative, then maybe perhaps we can shed a new light on media. Perhaps we can get public trust towards media again.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, media is evolving every single day. I mean, not just with technology, but just whatever's happening around us. It's kind of like, it eventually kind of plugs into the whole media outlet. And uh, I mean, for me personally, I've been in this industry for like 3 years, about that, yeah. And prior to that, I had no knowledge of like what this industry kind of entailed. Once I started working, it was kind of like, oh wow, this is interesting how it works. So it's kind of like, there's multiple people working on different projects, and just the whole structure of like, I mean, the business side of working for a news station, the news side of a news station. They all kind of just work hand in hand. It's Yeah. So I mean, you just see, there's like different sponsorships throughout, like the station and all that. So it's kind of like, building that partnership with businesses to allow them to, you know sponsor different segments, and also, you know create some brand awareness for them, exposure.
I do appreciate how you're bringing it back to the people because
Mhm.
that's what we should do, right? To help our
Yeah.
community. But how do you, because I know what sells nowadays is negativity.
Yeah.
So how do you mitigate that? How, because I know you as a company you need to make money, and since negativity does sell, and but you want to focus back on the community people. So how do you juggle that? Will you,
Yeah.
I will just put forth like for your company, do you show the negative stuff too, or do you show
Mhm.
only like motivational stuff and entrepreneurial stuff?
Yeah. I think, it with media, you do want to see, you don't want to just see like, you know positive things. It's all about like viewership as well. It's like a lot of consumers of media want to see something different, and you know different meaning, something, there's a shooting happening, but then sometimes you know we have a story on like, this new nonprofit that's starting up. So yeah, it's kind of like that agenda where, there needs to be a balance of both. And again, like the news, or yeah, any sort of segment you see wherever you go, um, it's limited to what you can kind of like listen to, see, understand. There's a certain window of just information that can be shared. So it's like that's why you see a lot of like TV shows. It's like to a certain amount of time, like it's a half hour, all of that. So all of that, it's kind of like just jam packed into or compressed into one show. So, and I mean, eventually do want to expand more on these stories, not just sticking to 5 minutes,
Right.
but more so expanding it into a longer form.
That is very interesting, like a continuity,
Yeah,
like having a business and like, okay, let's see how they're doing now. What are ways
yeah,
we can support? That's very interesting.
yeah.
That's a new concept.
And we work with the community every single day. It's like whether you're a business or you're just like what Kenny from down the road, you can we can work with you. It's like everybody has a story to share, and you know there's a lot of stories these days about everything. It's nonstop. It's like the media does not sleep. So there's always
Um,
something to share.
but let's make a shift for media.
Mhm.
What are you doing now in your free time? Since it seems like you work so much. You're one of the hardest workers that I know. So what do you do on your free time?
So free time, I mean, I usually go work out, go to the gym, like early morning. So I usually start my day off like at 4:30, and then I try to fit in a workout, and then I, now that there's like the COVID restrictions are kind of like lifting a little bit more. I've been going out to different restaurants. Um, we well Scott and I, we had our friends barbecue, so being able to gather around, seeing friends, that's one thing I really miss, and I've been doing a lot more of, seeing family members that I haven't seen in a long time. Yeah, so working out, seeing friends, eating at new places, and um, playing guitar. I mean, this like right now, I live alone. Before that, I lived with roommates, but now it's like this this new place has become my new creative space. So I've been trying to pick up my guitar. It's out there, so it's literally right by my bed, and every time I wake up, it's right there. And yeah, just trying to be more creative with music, and um, yeah, just meeting new people, starting new friendships like that.
I think that's
Simple
one
thing.
thing that was very underrated and underappreciated was just the ability to just hang out with friends and just catch up and
Mhm.
build relationships through there. I definitely miss
Yeah,
those times, especially last year. We couldn't do much, and now
yeah,
that we have the ability to just hang out, go to a restaurant.
mhm.
I think I told you this, but it brings back the humanity parts of life. You need relationships. You need to be able
Yeah,
to talk to people, and without that, it
mhm.
feels very life feels very empty if you're not able to have those moments where you can just talk with friends and just reminisce and just talk
Yeah.
about like stupid things.
Do you feel like your social skills have, I guess, within the past month or so, have become, better than it was like
Oh, much better
last
because of
day?
this podcast. No, no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
it's because of this podcast that I'm able to articulate my thoughts better. I'm able
mhm.
to feel confident just meeting someone new and just talking
Mhm.
about not only about myself but just being curious
Yep.
about the other person. I go into like podcaster mode where I'm so
Mhm.
curious about what they do and what they want to achieve. So I just ask them
Yeah.
questions like, why did you choose your profession? You know, an example is I met some of Kelly's friends and they're doctors, right? And they're
Yeah.
about to go into their residency soon. So I asked more about that. Why did you pick that certain area? Why
Mhm.
radiology? And I tried to listen to their stories. You know, why did you want to become a
Mhm.
doctor? So this podcast has helped tremendously with my self improvement, and of
Mhm.
course
Same
hearing
here.
you and hearing you talk too. It's like, okay, I like Kenny's flow. I like the way he articulates things. I like
Mhm.
the way he so I learned so much not only from you but the guests we have on the show. So
Mhm.
this podcast has been a game changer for me.
Yeah, it's been such a diverse set of people on this podcast, and the fact that we can share ideas and share who we are, and also just grow with each other. It's been amazing. That's why I love staying connected. I mean, not to be biased. I mean, I just love, I love I love it. So I'm glad to be back, and it's yeah. I mean, our social skills definitely. It's yeah. It's one of the resources that I felt has allowed me to build upon my communication skills throughout the pandemic, and being able to talk with you, Scott, and other guests. It's like it's like normal. Just we haven't really lost much of our social skills, but more so we built upon them. So it's amazing.
But I do have to ask, you know, what do
Mhm.
you think one, I guess coming out of this pandemic, I think we're close. Um, what do you think one negative aspect we got out of this was, besides, of course, the obvious of depression and mental illness, and of course the COVID deaths? Besides all that, what's at least one negative that we're gonna carry with us as we get out of this pandemic? In your opinion is, and I can give one if you need time to think.
Mhm. Um, I think the whole idea of social distancing has allowed us to really appreciate those around us. Um, yeah, I mean that's the whole social distancing. Um, yeah, fact about COVID has made me appreciate technology more. Not being able to see my parents or my family for a long time, and yeah, I mean it's kind of like now that we're able to gather in groups and see people that we haven't seen in a while, it's kind of like, wow, that's one thing you really have to, you know, can't really take for granted. It's like just, the people around you that you love. You really have to keep that connection super close because, COVID kills. And, I don't know anyone personally that um, died through COVID, but, you know, the whole idea of like social distancing, I mean, it was for our safety, but at the same time, it made us realize like, our relationships with people, even if we're so far apart, you know, there are opportunities to still stay connected, and no pun intended for that. So yeah.
I think for me, the biggest negative takeaway was how our our children and the younger generation. I think this is gonna affect them greatly. And let me walk you through my thought. Especially as you're growing up, right? You need to be social. That's where you learn all your social skills. It's how you learn how to, you know, put sentences together. That's how you learn to really act when people are around. And not having not having that environment where you can practice that, I think will stunt the growth of the younger generation, because as you grow up and you don't have those social skills, and then you're now, I say, in a couple of years you put back an environment, you won't know how to act. And I saw that firsthand with my nephews and my nieces, in which just having a conversation with them is just so difficult because they don't have the skills, or they don't have the knowledge to, just talk to another person. Instead, they'll just refer to their mom and dad to do the conversation for them, or they'll be naturally shy, or they'll just shy away from conversation. And that's where staying connected is so hard, because if you can't learn these skills, you can't really be, what's the word, you can't be a human, and having these skills that can connect yourself with others is a major advantage when you're, building your career, when you're trying to get that promotion, when you're trying to get a new job. Because if you can't convey the message properly to the other person, I think that puts you back a little bit. And of course, it's going to take time for them to learn it. But if you're a kid and you don't know how to communicate properly and with confidence, it's gonna affect you not only with, future spouses,
Yeah.
jobs and such. So this is an invaluable skill that I don't know how they're gonna teach it to kids without them learning naturally, like just playing around the playground and just hanging around other kids. But
Yeah.
I think this stunts their growth just a little bit in that area. So,
I mean, yeah, taking the fact that a lot of students have been doing distance learning, and it's been it's been tough for them. And I think as things are opening up more, and education system is opening up their classrooms to students, hopefully this will they'll provide some resource on building their social skills, aside from like teaching those regular subjects. I feel like there needs to be a focus on just a social, yeah, building your social skills, like an actual class for that communication. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, even in high school, we never had communication courses. Have you had like public speaking courses in high
it only
school
only
or?
only in college, but for high school, especially for public high school, I don't believe we have. I know for private they do. I know for
Okay,
private they
so I mean, yeah, even that idea of just having more communication courses in the the high school education, as as they make their way to college and all that, and with schools opening up more, it'll allow these new graduates to kind of be comfortable, just communicating to anybody. And yeah, for even college students and anybody, just finding more opportunities to build these communication courses, like anybody can take it.
Yeah, they definitely need to revise the curriculum a little bit just so people
Mhm.
can readjust
Yeah.
back to a normal civilization again, especially for
Yeah.
workplace. I know they want a lot of people to stop working from home and start coming back, but working
Mhm.
from home is amazing. I've
It
never
is.
experienced it, but
It's been, yeah, it's been freaking amazing. Just like not having to dress up too much and all that, but and drive, deal with traffic. Um, so yeah, fortunately, I was able to work from home, but nowadays I've been going into the office every now and then. So um, yeah, everybody's making that transition. So
so I guess the thought of it is like, if an employee, if you're the employee working from home, your boss wants you to come back. I guess the argument would be, if I'm just as productive or even more productive, and I don't have to drive, I don't have to dress up, deal with all that, and I can take care of my kids. If the production is still the same, like why would you want me to come back and deal with other external forces that might stress me out, like the driving home and taking the
yeah.
kids everywhere. But I think that takes away from just being connected with people.
Mhm.
And in order to advance, and yes, production is great, and you can show your boss that,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm meeting the deadlines every time, but people forget the human connection is so important. Like,
Mhm.
for example, if one person just works from home only, and another person works from home but sometimes they come in the office, when those two people are up for promotion or whatnot, usually they would, and assuming that productivity is the same, right?
Yeah.
Usually they'll take the person that comes more in the office because they've taken time to build a connection, right?
Yeah.
So I think people need to remember that yes, working from home is great, and I know you save a lot of money, but you need to have that human connection where you come in, you talk story, and you catch up. That's so important, especially for,
Pretty much. Yeah.
yeah, especially if it's your boss, right? You want your boss to like you. You want to know what's going on with your boss and how you can help further help your boss with his or her goals. You
Mhm.
can't really get that um, through Zoom or online. It's just more casual when you come in person and you talk about that. In my opinion, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me personally, I mean, our boss has set some time. So we have different groups every week that go into the office for these weekly meetings, and it's our one day of the week that allows us to go in and communicate with our boss and other coworkers that we haven't seen in so long. So everybody lives in different locations. Everybody makes a drive in that morning. So it's taking it step by step. Everybody is making that transition pretty smoothly into going to the office. And I mean, I remember the first time going into the office and meeting with other coworkers. Sorry, can you hear that?
Yep. No, you're fine.
Okay. No, no, yeah. So when I went into the office and seeing other coworkers that I haven't seen, it was kind of like everybody was hesitant on what to do, how to communicate. It's like, we're so used to hugging and all that, but that was off limits. Um, it was mostly like small talk because everybody was just there for the meeting, and then once the meeting was over, then everybody just went back home. Yeah, so that's how it's been for the past month or two. Um, but we're making that transition slowly and smoothly.
Yeah, people underestimate small talk. It's invaluable to know what your coworkers or your boss likes to do
Mhm.
on their weekends or on their time off, or like what they like in general. Because when it comes to
Yeah,
their birthdays or like special events, oh, he or she likes coffee. Okay, great. I'm gonna buy them their favorite brand, and a
and
little bit goes a long way.
yeah.
Huh.
So
Okay, shall we go to some questions? We got we
all
got
right,
some we got some new
okay.
questions.
Oh,
New
new
questions.
questions. All right,
Yeah.
go for it.
Okay. What's a tip that you do that helps you connect to others easier?
So, well, I mean, aside from like finding common hobbies and um, interests, I I usually like say, I mean, one tip is like food brings us together, right? So I usually like to start off with a question like, "Oh, where do you like to eat at?" And then that's a conversation starter. So
I like that. It's very it's not heavy at all. It's like, oh, just
it's
food. Like,
not.
you know how some people just go straight into like, oh, do you have kids? Like, and that's
Yeah, yeah. It's like
yeah.
it. I mean, yeah, that's like one of the questions you would probably ask later on. But simple questions like that. It's kind of you just gotta start the
I
conversation.
like that. I'm gonna steal that. Oh, where do you eat at? Oh, so and so. Oh, really? How's that?
Yeah,
I've never been there. You can just lie.
yeah, and
What's your
then
favorite
that's
thing to get?
that's what you do. It's just everybody loves food and everybody eats different places. You just start the conversation and then you dive deeper into who they are and right there.
That's a
So
very good one. And then
yeah,
I,
even
I'm
when like talking to different businesses for my job too, it's like I ask them like, where do you want to eat? What do you like eating? And yeah, there you go.
I'm going to steal that, by the way. Okay. Okay. I guess another one relating to staying connected. How do you build long-term relationships?
Uh, Building long-term relationships. Communication is super key. Like, if you feel like you haven't talked to the person in about a week or two, I try to reach out. Um, I mean, that's just me personally. Like, I like to reach out more. Um, I like to set up meetings, hangouts like that. And then also just pretty much giving a phone call or text, just, yeah, kind of like that. Um, yeah, I mean, there's only a small group of people that I'm friends with. Like, I have like a good, like a handful of friends. So, um, yeah, I just try to communicate with them as much as I can. Doesn't have to be every day. It can be like once a month, like that. So, I mean, I have high school friends that I'm still friends with today, and we don't see each other every week or every month. It's like we just make sure we just reach out whenever we can. So it's communication.
The one thing that I've, the one common thing I've heard about this answer is you gotta be a little proactive. You want to build long-term relationships. You can't
Mhm.
wait for the other person to just, hey, Kenny, how you doing? So
Yeah.
it from everyone that I've asked this question, they tell me you gotta be a little proactive, and that's okay. Get over your ego and start asking people how they're doing.
Yeah, that's important because then they'll know that you're thinking about them, and from there they know that you care and you still want to be friends.
That's true.
Yeah.
Some gems in this episode, Kenny. Okay, next one. What's your biggest realization in life so far?
Oh, biggest realization. Um, the fact that whenever I hear a no, I always take that as a way to grow and improve. It's like I'm the type of person that always wants to hear a yes, and I realized, like, especially with this new position that I'm in, I'm gonna be faced with a lot of objections more than yeses, and I tell myself, you know, once I hear a no, it's like I just got to move forward and find ways on improving, um, how I can improve a certain relationship or just, yeah, any decision that I make. So, yeah, realizing that no, the word no can mean something great in the end.
Do you ask them like, hey, why are you saying no right now? Is it a matter of
Mm-hmm.
time or like
Yeah,
you ask them? Okay.
people saying no right now is kind of like a uh, it's like a pause into something that could potentially happen later on. So it's just not the right time, and that's where we tie back into establishing long-term relationships. It's just you have to be proactive, and if people say no now, they might say yes later on. So it's just keeping that mentality and you know not giving up. I within the past couple weeks, I mean, I've been hearing a lot of no's constantly, and initially I was like, I don't know if I could like do this. Um, but then I told myself, like, and just talking with other peers, there's gonna be more no's than yeses, and you just have to move forward and follow up, and you know everybody's feelings change over time. So
Play the
yeah,
long-term game. Huh? I
yeah.
love it.
There's a positive side to no's
Great.
because then
Okay. All right, and we'll go to the segment of the recommendation of the week.
recommendation of the week. Okay.
Remember, it could be a book, a tip, a quote, etc.,
Mhm.
etc. What do you have, Kenny?
Okay, so a tip that I picked up on recently um, was okay. So before that, I like to plan out my day. Um, the day like that morning, um, and I realized like I shouldn't be spending my day like my morning planning out my day. I should be spending planning out my day the day before that before I go to bed. So what I've been doing is I plan out my day right before I sleep, just so when I wake up, I know exactly what I want to do and what I want to accomplish. And if there are things on my list that I don't accomplish, I move it to the next day. And if there, if that item is still on there, it's like you have to question yourself, like what are you doing, like to accomplish it? You need to work on something to really fulfill that item. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Just setting or making my plans the day before the next day. Just so when you wake up, you know that you're gonna go work out at 4 o'clock. And then once you're done working out, you're gonna, you know, reach out to businesses. You're gonna reach out to 10, 20, 30 people, establish that relationship, and then you're gonna set up meetings with them, go to lunch, and then after that, set some time for your friends and catch up with Scott, catch up with David, and yeah, just so you feel like you've accomplished a lot within a day. I mean, I probably brought this up like in the past segments, but I have this quote that I wake up to every morning. So it's don't count the days, make the days count. It's like how are you gonna spend each day um, of your life? It's like there's 24 hours in the day, and throughout those 24 hours, you can do so much. You can accomplish a lot, um, and it's up to you to really make that list on what your priorities are and just go for it and try your best to accomplish it.
Never know how many days you have left. Make them
Mhm.
count. My recommendation, and I think this just became a realization in the last couple of weeks, is I'm just too old. I'm starting to get too old to care about what other people think about me.
Oh my god, yeah.
I think there was a point where like I used to care so much, like how my hair looks, how my skin should look, how I should act, what people think about what I have to say. But I'm getting to the point where like I'm just too old to care about what people think about me. So I'm just gonna do me, because there will be people that will love you, they will like you, and there are
Mhm.
people that just won't like you for whatever reason. And I
Mhm.
shouldn't spend time caring about the people that don't care about me. So
Okay,
that's
exactly.
so sometimes when I'm doing something, it's like, oh, should I do this? Like, oh, I'm very anxious, or I'm fearful. I'm like, I just tell myself I'm just too old to care about what other people
What's
think.
an example like that you really think about? What's an
Okay,
example?
this is a major insecurity, but let me share. So when going back to Kelly's friends, they're all amazing people. They're all
Mhm.
super super cool. And if they're listening to this, don't worry, we're still cool. But I used to always concern the fact that like my job position, or like my status, or my social status, or whatever. Like I used to be real insecure the fact that, oh, I'm not a doctor. Like how am I gonna have conversation with a person that's so much smarter than me? What if they think I'm really stupid? And like, what if they think my opinions are irrelevant? So all those thoughts, that's why I wouldn't, I would act really, really shy, or I wouldn't say anything at all because the fear, like, well, what if I say something stupid, right? What would they think of me? Would they think of Kelly less because she's dating me, who's not as like good as her, or who is not smart as her? And since I'm not a doctor, how do I compare to her? But recently, it's just like I'm just me. The only person that I could do is me, and the only
Mhm.
person opinion that matters, that should care about is me. So whatever I say or do, that's just who I am, and I'm just getting too old to care about what people's opinions are. So,
Mhm.
and if it comes to the point that like if they like me, oh, that's awesome. Let's build a relationship. Let's continue to stay connected. But if not, if you don't like me for whatever reason, that's cool too. Like we don't need to hang out. That's just your opinion, and I can't do anything to change your opinion, but I can change my opinion of myself. So
Yeah.
now that I'm equipped with that, and it's taken almost freaking 30 years to get to this point, it's like, the only thing I can do is just be myself. And I want to be curious about you. I want to be curious about your story. And if I say something that offends you, or if I say something that's ignorant, like teach me, and I will do my best to, not offend you. But if I do offend you, I'm sorry. I'm just being me, and I'm only on this earth for so long, so I'm not gonna spend time
Yeah.
being worried about something that I can't control, or like
No.
something that I can't control from you.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you have to love yourself. You have to prioritize those that love you for who you are. And you should be spending your time focusing on, yeah, changing yourself, your perspective to fit people that, aren't as, you know, that important in your life, that don't care much about you. So good.
Yeah.
Be
No.
yourself.
Yes, that's the only person you can be.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean accept your current self. You can always be better.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, this has been great, man. Like I love catching up
It's
with you. Like,
it's always awesome. It's like now we're actually doing the podcast once again, and yeah, I'm just thankful again that we're able to still stay connected on staying connected, and it's been quite the ride. The fact that we started this project almost a year ago, and now it's you know blossomed into something that we can take just bits and pieces of what you shared, what I shared, what our guest shared, and really, use that in our daily lives. And yeah, just this is a project that is, you know, it's gonna continue to grow and inspire everyone that's listening. And I'm just thankful. Thank you, Scott.
oh, thank you. You're gonna be a recurring guest, right? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, I will be back.
All right. But other than that, thank you everybody for listening. You can find us on all platforms, social media. If you want to be a guest, please DM me at Staying Connected. I'm quite active on Instagram at Staying
Yes.
Connected. Yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you, Kenny, again, and have a great day, everybody.